Hello everyone, this is Zooc, and today I'm going to be drawing Thrall, the former leader of the Horde. For some of you that might not know this, Thrall renounced the leadership of the Horde once Cataclysm came out, gave the leadership away to Garrosh Hellscream, and he rejoined the Earthen Ring and took his role as a shaman to help defeat Deathwing and prevent him from destroying the entire world. So he traveled to the Maelstrom, from which Deathwing made his appearance out of Deepholm, and he's currently there battling the whatever the hell it is, evil forces of doom. So anyway, this drawing was made more as a commission for someone that expressed interest in purchasing it. So hopefully after seeing it they won't change their mind, because that would be quite unpleasant. In any case, it was fun to draw, and I got to try out some new things, like stuff I haven't done in a long time, like humanoid arms and muscles. And it took about 4.5 hours to draw from start to finish, which is quite long. But I chose a pretty dynamic pose for him this time because I was getting sick of the classic pose I use for my characters, which is very static. It doesn't have any movement in it. So this one is at a weird angle, and he's wielding a weapon, which you'll see towards the end. And yes, I'm aware that he does not normally wield a weapon in his current state, but it's kind of boring drawing him empty-handed, so I just added a mace in there for funsies. But yeah, I drew the muscles, and now I'm detailing the chains that wrap around his forearms. He has like 2 leather wraps around his forearms covered in chains, and sort of a knuckle glove coming out from underneath that. Easier way to draw the chains is to make half a loop of one link and then the other half, and once you have the general shape of the chain planned out, you complete the second halves in, just to make it equal and uniform, and it works. Right now I'm just detailing an ornament I decided to add to his wrap. It was my own thing, he doesn't have that. But I used the stylus to draw the little curvy lines, and then made a stroke over them to give them the feel of three-dimensional. Right now I'm really struggling with the hand, because the hand is in a very strange position. It's sort of curving at the wrist towards the viewer. It's the hand that's holding the weapon, so not only the arm is foreshortened, but the hand is in a strange position as well. So I had to erase it quite a number of times, because that's just what happens with hands. You can't really avoid it, maybe after years and years of practice. But for now I'm still having issues with some elements of humanoid anatomy. Animal and creature not so much, but humanoid has to be one of the most difficult things to get right. So I said, screw it. I added another thing under his forearm cover, and made the knuckle glove a bit shorter so it would look better. So I wouldn't make the hand look like it had like this huge long wrist. Just trying to get the position for the fingers right. It might not look natural, but the hand does curve at the wrist when you're like wielding a mace at someone and trying to hit him. Your wrist will bend for the snap effect in the wrist to hit the person, so that bend is not unnatural. Going very light with on the shading of the fingers here. I didn't want to make him too dark, because I'm trying to not do that whole ultra black thing anymore, because it's just too much. It's too distracting, and everything is just overlapping too much, and it's not pro. I'm drawing his shaman beads that hang around his neck. I can hardly call those beads. They're more like Christmas tree ornaments, but that's what they're called. And now I'm working on the hood, trying to figure how the folds will fall, because the hood, normally it's made of cloth, so it's not rigid, so it will have a few folds. Just finishing with the shamanistic beads, and now I'm getting to work on his face. I used the stylus for the eyebrows, just made very short lines and then covered it with pencil. and for the rest I'm just trying to draw very thin lines to get the idea of position for the elements on the eye, and then try and shade it in just to solidify its position a bit. I think the eyes are not at the same level, but at that point I had gone in with a pencil so many times, and there were the lines from the stylus as well, so I didn't want to erase it and actually rip the paper, because if you abuse the paper, it will rip eventually. But they look okay. I'll fix their position in a little bit, but for now I think they're okay. They look like orcish eyes, so that's all good. Trying to draw the mouth now and give the impression that he actually has a tongue and not just a deep black hole over there. And with the stylus over there, I used it on his upper lip to show that he has wrinkles, because you know orcs do have wrinkles there. For the beard, I used it as well to give it a very realistic effect that I mentioned in my kobold video. And I also used it for the braided hair. Now I drew some like circles that intersected, but not on the same level, because then it will look too static. And then I just used the stylus to make very little thin lines going from the center towards the edge, just to give the impression that they have a volume. They're round. You know, should never draw hair with a solid color, because it will just look bad. Just doing some minor fixings on the face here, trying to accentuate his features a bit, and working on his lips, how his head is shaded by the hood, and how his hair looks coming out of his the back of his head. Finishing with the beads now, and now I'm working on the other arm, which is in perspective, so it's going to be smaller and it's at a very strange angle, but I think I got it pretty well. The anatomy might not be perfect muscle for muscle, but you know, orcs they're not really humans, so you can't really apply like humanoid anatomy that you see in books to these creatures, because they might have extra muscles, they might have extra bones, you know, they don't have the structure of a normal human man. And I'm doing the glove, same procedure with the chains, the ornaments now on the other hand, and working on the knuckle glove or back of the hand cover. I'm getting a bit better with hands now. I used to be really terrible at it, but with so much practice I still make a few mistakes, and I still eventually manage to erase quite a bit of it, but it's nothing compared to what it was in the past. Now, I wasn't sure if orcs had sharp claws or normal fingernails, so I just drew sharp claws for an extra effect. After all, he's not supposed to do a lot of manual fighting, so there's no reason he shouldn't have sharp claws. After all, some truckers do, so I think he's fine. And the most fun part of this whole drawing was the weapon, because it's the closest element to the viewer. So you got to be really careful with the details and not slack on it. Just drew a bit of hair coming out from where the handle is, and now I'm just drawing the spikes. And this is basically a spiked club sort of thing. And the way to do it's supposed to have like sort of a woody or maybe stone texture. I'm not sure what it is made of. It's probably made of stone, I would imagine, but the handle is wood and the spikes are just a miscellaneous material. But the way I do this is I make very short and not very short, but very light strokes with the pencil on the paper, and your finished product will have a texture. So you look at it and then you see what could possibly be a shade and what could be a highlight. So I just proceed to shade whatever looks like it would be, you know, dented or something like that. So it looks irregular and very rough. Over there are 4 what I think are leather strips coming out of the central spike in the club, probably just to reinforce it so it doesn't fall apart when you hit with it. And same thing I mentioned for the club, I use for the spikes, you know, just very short strokes and then push down whenever you feel like, and just let the paper do the work for you, because it will be like that. Just got to keep in mind that some sides of the spikes and the club will be away from the light source, so you have to darken those parts just to give it the impression of volume, else it'll look flat and just boring. I'm almost done now. I'm just detailing the final spikes. The ones in the back don't need to have as much detail, just give the impression of them, and that's about it. And this is it. I hope you found this useful and enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.